So here's an interesting perspective when it comes to giving girls validation or attention or compliments. Um, if you choose not to give a woman attention and affection, validation, whatever you want to call it, most of the time, I mean, there's times when it's tactical, and we'll get into that nuance, right? But most of the time, if you're of the mentality like, oh, don't give women validation, don't give her attention, don't give her compliments, da da da. Most of the time, that's cowardice. You're just being a pussy. Okay. And I'll explain why. So, what happens is guys only think in extremes and false dichotomies, right? Here's the nice guy, here's the asshole. That's your only options. It's a very silly way of thinking, but it's easy. That's why it's very tempting. It's because it's easy, and people want easy answers. So almost every guy starts out a nice guy, right? Gets rejected, finds out his girlfriend was sucking the dick of that asshole jerk, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to go to the dark side. So, dark side, right? And then he's like, all right, this is the answer because it gets success. This is monkey thinking. This is just like really basic logic errors, okay? When you really understand women, and you have a lot of success with women, and you go back and you're like, what was actually the successful thing that women were attracted to when I was having success? What you'll learn is that it wasn't the fact that you weren't giving her validation. It was the fact that your validation was skillful. Because if you believe you're not giving women validation, you're an idiot. Okay? If you go on a date with a girl, you're giving her validation. If you have a hard dick and it goes in her pussy, you're giving her validation. You're giving her attention, right? Like, oh, yeah, I'm not, yeah, she just sucking my dick, like, I'm the king. And it's like, no, bro, like, at some point, she had to have seen some interest from you. Even if it was just 1 second. Even if you were popping off at the club, all these girls on you, and she just sees you, right? And you just give her that one look, and you're like, come here. You feel like you're a boss, and you are. I mean, you're definitely operating at a higher level than, all the other guys at the club who are simping for her. But you're like, hey, come here, baby. And then, like, you take her, in the bathroom and, raw dog her in the ass. You gave her validation, right? You picked her from all the other girls. Okay, so there was validation giving, compliment giving, affection showing, right? So it's impossible not to give a girl affection. The only way you truly never give women validation is to go be a monk and go beyond the desires of the flesh, okay? So, right there, instant, clear argument to demonstrate to you that if you believe you're not giving a woman validation, that's already a stupid idea. It's impossible. If you're spending time with a girl and being affectionate and sexual or romantic with a girl, even if you believe, like, I'm not giving her any emotions, I'm this stone cold killer boss, I just fuck pussy, get my dick sucked, and make money. It's like, I mean, you're still giving her validation. You can rationalize it all you want with some pimp ideology, but it's the truth. So, it's a stupid line of thinking. So how thoroughly does this stupidity run through your, like, the basis of your ideology? Well, really fucking deep. So one of the simplest ways is that if we go into this idea of, I'm not going to show affection or give validation or give compliments, whatever. Well, we already demonstrated that you're already giving her validation. So on this level, can we challenge this idea? Well, sure. Okay. So if you talk to a girl in the first place, right, you're giving her validation and compliments. You're demonstrating through your actions that she's worth your time. So why is it a big deal? Okay, here's the moment where you got to put on your thinking cap. Okay. If we already demonstrated that you're showing validation by giving her attention in the first place, I don't care how cool you make it out to be, like, if you're giving her attention, you're giving her validation. What's the difference between if you walk up to her and don't give her a compliment and you walk up to her and do give her a compliment? Oh, well, that's too far, bro. No, man. You're giving her too much validation. She's gonna see you as a simp. Okay. Then what about the times when I have given a woman a compliment and I was getting my dick sucked in 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Fastest lay I ever got was 30 seconds. I was at a party. There was a girl I was supposed to meet. She found me at the party that night. You know, we were supposed to meet that night, but I hadn't run into her. And then all of a sudden she comes up to me. She's like, hey, you're Hector. She's like, yeah, Samantha was supposed to like introduce us. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. You're her name. Making out. Took her to my room, which was like a few feet away. Fucked her. Oh, you didn't give her a compliment. Okay, that's fair enough. You know, when I went to the club and I called a girl, I asked her if she's single. Oh, I think you're pretty. 15 minutes. It was closing time. Went back to my place, fucked. My game is the most direct game I've ever seen in my entire life. I give women compliments all the time. And sometimes I would do it in the most lovey-dovey, romantic, like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh, baby, you're so gorgeous. Like, oh, nice ass. I was super sexual, though. That was the thing. I would, like, simp beyond belief for girls. But I was super sexual about it. And if I didn't get it with her, I would go and just approach another girl. That, to me, is ultimate pimpery, ultimate badassery, right? It's as close to outcome independence as I think you can get, because you can't be fully outcome independent. That's impossible, right? If there's craving involved, then there's attachment involved, okay? But it's as close as you could get within the realm of dating. I'm going to give you everything right now. I'm just going to go for it and not try to hide anything. I'm attracted to you, right? Would girls try to play me for a trick and a simp and, you know, play games? Of course. I'm not fucking God. You know, I wouldn't just walk up and they're like, oh, yes, you told me I'm pretty. I'm going to suck your dick now. No, like, there would obviously be some moments when, you know, there would be a pullback of attention, or there would be a moment that called for me to maybe pull back my validation because I could sense that I was maybe leaning in a bit too much, literally and metaphorically, right? I was getting too excited, I was smiling, and and then I caught myself, and I'm like, okay, showing a bit too much interest, and I backed up. Or, you know, maybe I drank too much, and so I was getting all like, you know, staring at her and like, oh, you're so pretty, and then I could tell, right? Yes, obviously. Okay, pull back validation. But did the fact that I first said that she was pretty, did I lose my power? I remember when I would spend time on the Red Pill Reddit, and my first mistake was talking to people on Reddit. My second mistake was talking to people on Red Pill, because most of them are ideologues, right? And so I would talk to them about my style, about the fact that I'm, you know, very direct. And first of all, they just call me a liar, right? I would show them like texts to be like, yeah, I was like super romantic and cute. And they're like, oh, this is like, it was literally out of the realm of their imagination. And I even like showed the actual text. And he's like, oh, you photoshopped them. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Or I would tell them my ideas and my tactics and be like, oh no, you lost power. Like, now you're showing too much attention. You're too much affection, too much validation. And I was like, well, it was enough, right? It might not have been the level of alphaness that you would always see as the ideal. But here's the thing. It's very possible that your ideal level of alphaness would have actually failed. Because this is what everyone misunderstands about game. This is the secret, right? I'm at the climax of the video. The biggest secret that almost every guy who's in game is either too stupid or too inexperienced to see is that game is not a one-dimensional thing. The only thing that all this red pill shit that guys are seeing is it's a single axis game. There's only the I almost said the x-axis. There's only the y-axis. Value. Value, 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 value. Right? So guys will only play the value game. If this guy has a bigger dick than you, is taller than you, better looking than you, has more money than you, that girl's going to cheat on you in 10 seconds with this guy. Or, you know, she's going to pick him over you. That's so fucking stupid. Like, it has no basis in reality from what I've seen. The only people who have these ideas are either inexperienced guys or guys who only rely on this level. Like think about it, right? Okay, thinking cap time. If your entire game revolves around being high value, how much money you are, how cocky you are, then of course the girl who meets a guy who is here and you're here is going to go with this guy because this is your only value. So when she meets the guy who's here, it's the same thing as you, just better. But you're only operating on a y-axis. So of course, 15 is greater than 10. Duh. But if you have an x-axis and a z-axis, and you understand that game isn't just a value game, but there's also attainability involved, right? Attainability is when we talk about like the human element. That's attainability of like, does this guy actually care about me? Is there actually some depth to him? Like, is there a human element to him? Like, girls know what you're doing when you're playing cool. You know, they respect it. They like that you've worked hard to become this guy. But they're not stupid. They don't. It's not like they're fucking robots and they're just like high value man, right? They know what you're doing, right? They like that because it's masculinity. But there's the fucking human element. They're like, all right, is this guy going to open up? Is he going to show me something deeper? This is why the guys who are really good at value game have a hard time keeping girls around. So they'll pound pussies and girls love them and they're like, oh, I'm a pimp. And then they never get a text back. I know because I trained these guys. Like, what the fuck? I'm getting laid all the time and these girls just never text me back and I want to keep fucking them. I'm like, yeah, because you're only given this. You got to give this, right? And I've went through it myself too. I'd be a fuckboy and then I'm surprised girls don't want to like text me back. Oh, it's because you don't fuck her good enough, Hector. You're a fucking pussy. You got a small dick. You don't know how to spend. It's like, no, dude. Like, by every objective, like she was screaming pussy, wet, fucking orgasms, great time. And then I wouldn't hear from her again. But then a different girl, I would hear from her again. And then I would go, okay, what's the difference? What was the distinction between like long-term success and short-term success? Well, I showed this girl some fucking humanity. I showed her some connections. I actually had a conversation with her. I was a pimp and high value, whatever, But I also was like talking to her. I showed her deeper parts of myself. Maybe she saw some vulnerability. I told her a story, an embarrassing story or a sad story. She heard something about my past, whatever. Game is multidimensional. So if you're only playing on this, well, of course you're only going to see success because you're a one-trick pony. But if you're a multi-trick pony and you understand that game has the human element of attainability, right, which involves a lot of things like having a connection with her, vulnerability, having similar interests to her, like just having a connection with her, okay? Then you'll understand that game is more, it's deeper than just, oh, don't give girls validation because if you give them validation, then they're going to lose respect for you. That's an idiotic statement once you actually understand game. So please use your brains and understand that their game is multi-axis. And if you really, really actually want to learn how to get women, then you're going to have to sacrifice short-term gains. Basically, it's like this. You made it to a high weight, all right, bench press, squat, whatever. But you had shitty form. Now, you built up a strong enough base and muscle mass and tendon strength and what the fuck ever, right? Testosterone, where you can keep going up weights, but you're going to start hitting diminishing returns. And you're going to have a certain ceiling of how much you're going to be able to lift because you're not using your body at its operative, optimal way because your form is bad. So you're not fully engaging the stronger muscles of your glutes or your legs or your chest, whatever, that's going to actually allow you to get full optimization of what your body is capable of. But if you're willing to sacrifice for the short term and actually go back down to a lower weight, but do it with correct form, because if you do correct form at your current weight, you're not going to be able to do it because you haven't built up those muscles that are involved in the correct form, posture and technique. So go back and let go of like just pumping value, right? Which is literally just it's you can all bring it back to a technical game. Not giving girls validation is a compensation tactic for a lack of like the human element of game. Like, I'm just not good at having conversations. I'm not good at getting deeper into conversation with her. I'm not good at understanding what she really wants and making her feel actually understood, seen, cared for. I don't understand that women actually do want to be cared about, right? Because you've fallen into dichotomous thinking of, oh, if you care about her, you're a simp. But if you don't care about her, you're alpha. It's like, ugh, I hopefully I've over-explained this enough. So take the short-term loss and kind of drop, like, all right, I'm going to sacrifice my ideologies. I'm going to go out and start giving girls compliments. I'm going to start showing more vulnerability. I'm going to start being more romantic. There's a lot. So showing vulnerability, maybe taking it slower with girls. And that's like sacrilege to me, right? Because I try to move as fast as possible, fuck her on the first date, right? But what you can do is like, if you need to train your left hand to jerk off properly, right? You got to tie your right hand behind your back and force yourself to learn how to jerk it with the left hand, right? Now, are you not going to be as good at riding and jerking and throwing balls with your left hand because you've used your right hand your whole life? Yeah, of course, right? But if you learn how to be ambidextrous, you got, you can use two swords, right? And so you can slay all the bitches. So take the short-term loss. Stop trying to be cool. Stop trying to be alpha. You can come back to using your right hand once you've learned how to jerk it with the left hand. But for right now, tie the right hand behind your back. And so you're gonna take some L's. You're gonna take some rejections, and you're gonna feel like a pussy. You're gonna be like, "What the fuck? This Hector guy, I'm telling me to be a pussy. Fuck this shit. I'm an alpha." Okay, go back to what you're doing, bro. If it's working, it's working. Like, this is just a fucking YouTube video, right? Like, if it's working, it's working, right? But if you want to operate at a higher level, attainability, right? Vulnerability, romance, taking it slow, really trying to have deep dives with her, like really talk to her about like deep things, like who she really is, show her who you really are, take risks with your humor and what you can tell a girl. Fucking crying in front of a girl, man, like the vulnerability thing, like. And I know you're watching this and be like, this motherfucking simp pussy blue pill whatever, right? I would love to use words that you can no longer use on YouTube because YouTube's a bunch of bitches, but whatever. So use that left hand, try it out, and then once you actually see some success with it, because you're not going to truly put your hand behind your back, right? You're going to think you are, but it's only going to be like you're chicken winging it. So you're going to have a little bit of your alphaness. Let me put it this way. If you truly are alpha, it's going to shine through even if you have only your left hand. I've been hitting you with the coolest fucking metaphors you've ever heard in your life. And if they're not sticking to your brain or your heart, then you're real fucking retarded. So I hope you're listening, okay? And I mean that with all the kindness in the world, okay? So practice with your left hand, tie your right hand behind your back, and then when you're ready, ka-cha, nunchucks. Cool. All right, Hector Castillo, girlschase.com, telling you to go out and approach girls, give them compliments, give them validation, and not be afraid to show the softer sides of yourself, because you already are, whether or not you think you are, as I explained. But yeah, okay. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, check out all my products in the description. I got a texting book that you can check out if you want to learn how to text girls the right way. I got a day game course that teaches you how to approach girls everywhere, anywhere, the good old-fashioned way. And I have a book for those of you who are in college, or if you just want to learn social circle gaming about reputation and gossip and maintaining your reputation. Still applies. People don't change from college to real life. Most people don't evolve beyond fucking middle school and high school. So all of these things are in the description below if you want to sign up for one-on-one coaching. Then also check out the form in the description. Give me all your money. Give me your validation with your likes, your moolah, your subscriptions, your ringing the bell. And I will give you knowledge in game and wisdom in return. Fair exchange. All right. Love you guys. Ciao.